Yeah, anyone that joined us, if you can go into the chat and put hello or hi, that's how I'm doing the attendance. We're supposed to keep attendance who shows up to these. Okay, so without further ado, we'll get started here. First is to let you know what's going on. You know, you probably have heard that we're virtual until January 15th. And as part of that, there's a requirement at the high school that our second and fourth block hybrid classes that we have a half hour online Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, unless there's a holiday or something, um, to um, to continue instruction. Now, of course, I usually make tutorial videos for all my assignments, so I normally don't use Zoom for regular lessons. But because of this requirement, I'm going to use it after I do announcements and go over a few things, just to review some basics. I'm not going to do the whole lesson, but I'm just going to review some basics that hopefully will be helpful to you. I'm playing this for till 12:30. If I start getting into something halfway through that, maybe you were in one of the classes where we did that already. I take no offense if you depart us, because my fourth block class, we got through pretty much the whole Excel lessons. So today I thought that the assignments we have this week, the ones people may have most questions or need help with, would be Excel if they were not in class on Monday and Tuesday. So that may be all of you, some of you, I'm not sure. But either way, because this is also being recorded for those not here right now, because some students have conflicts with Zoom classes and stuff, I'm going to continue here. First, and for general information, I'm going to share my screen here. As far as this week, and some of this you may you may have heard already from me. We have 2 Excel assignments. We're starting Excel, which is spreadsheets that I covered in class. The second block class, we got through budget, but we had a lot of presentations to do, so we didn't get through the second lesson. If I remember right, the fourth block class, we got through the second lesson for those that were here and finished it. So if you were here, you probably got both of those lessons done. But we're going to be doing Excel for the next 3 weeks, and you might want to at least stick around for my review here in just a moment, not of the whole lesson, but of some of the basics of Excel that you should be aware of. There's a TED Talk about procrastination that does relate to online learning, because that's a huge problem with online learning. So it's guys kind of funny, so I think you'll enjoy that and probably hit home a little bit, especially for my virtual only students. Then we are starting our internet unit. So we're going to be doing simultaneously Excel and internet. So this kind of just goes over some basics, and it takes you to a website, and you're going to have to do this one here on your own. It's not hard at all to do. You just follow along. It goes right along here, and of course my internet appears not to be working so great here. Normally that should come up right away, but I'm not going to wait for it to come up. This just goes over basics about the internet and the web and what it is and stuff like that. So we're going to be doing internet topics and Excel topics for the next few weeks. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing this one, and I'm going to go into Excel. So some of you might say, Mr. Rio, we already did the budget. Well, just bear with me for a few minutes, because I'm going to go over a few general things to help you understand Excel better, because I kind of went over it very quickly in class, and you may not have seen everything. First of all, for Excel, for all 3 weeks, you can use the online only version of Excel. So if you want to use the regular Windows version, or if you have a Mac version, or you did it in class with the Mac version, that's all okay. The online only version of Excel has all the features that we need. Okay, so last year I did these lessons when we had to finish up the school year in May and April, and I used the online version of Excel. So I figured, why not? I'll use some of the same lessons again, because they're good lessons and they cover the basics, and the online version of Excel seems to work with that. So any of the versions, they're all very, very similar. So it's going to be just minor differences between them. Okay, just to review Excel, the idea of a spreadsheet is you not only divide a document into rows and columns, but you make it so any of these cells, intersection of a row and a column is a cell, which all have cell references. This is like A2. This would be B3 where that one is. This would be A4. This one would be E7. Okay. You can not only put in text, but you can put in numbers, and those numbers can be multiplied, divided, added, subtracted, all kind of mathematical calculations. And it was developed for the purpose of a lot of business documents that have a lot of numbers in them. And the wonderful thing about it is this is the completed budget from the first assignment, is that once you have it done and you got your formulas in here, if you hear me say functions, a function is a special type of formula. If you go up here where this kind of Greek letter E is, and you pull down the menu, some of the most common functions are right there. Sum function is the first one. That's the default. So if you just click the Greek letter E, you're going to get sum, and that just adds up whatever cells you select. The average function, hence the name average, will average the cells you select. The count numbers function will go through any cells you select, and every cell with a number, it counts as 1. So if you got 5 cells and they each got whatever number in it, could be any number, it'll count that as 5. The max function will go through a range of cells, and whichever one is the highest, it will show the highest. So maybe you got a sales staff, and you want to know which one has the highest sales. Min function will do the opposite of max. It'll go through a group of cells and display the minimum. Maybe you're setting up a spreadsheet for golf scores where the winner is the one with the lowest score. So that would be a good function to use for something like that. And of course, there are way more functions than just those 5. There's like 500 in Excel, but we're only going to focus on these 5 here. And then another one called the if function we may touch on. Okay, so the functions are important, but any function or formula can be written manually, and I'm just going to demonstrate right here. Okay, you might say, Mr. Rio, what are you doing there? This is just demonstration. So let's say for whatever weird reason, we're making a category. We want to add whatever's here. We want to add 50 to it. Okay, pretty simple. So we click here. We put an equal sign. Every formula or function starts with an equal sign. Now, we don't put 800 because that number could change. Okay, we want the cell reference. So let's say that, so that would be D5. So I'm going to manually type D5. And it highlights. I could have clicked on it, but I'm just going to manually type D5. Then we're going to add the plus sign. So we just put a plus. We don't have to use the sum function just for something like this. And I'll put 50. I don't have to put dollars. I can format that later. Now I'm going to hit return, and I got 850. Now, when you first see this, you see the whatever the answer is. You don't see the formula. When you click on it, you'll see the formula up here. This is called the formula bar. So if you want to edit the formula, you have to come up here and do it. So let's say I wanted it to be adding 80. Okay. And I hit return. Now I got 880. Okay, I'm going to click on here. I'm going to edit it again. What if I wanted it to minus 80? So I put a minus 80 to D5, and I hit return. What if I go in D5 and change it? Maybe I want this to be 600, a lower rent. Now it changed this answer here automatically. Okay, and you could add, subtract, multiply, divide, and many other things. I'm not going to go into all the other possibilities mathematically, but the most common ones are those 4 right there. By the way, if you wanted to divide, for example, you could do D5. You put a backslash like that, okay, and we'll put 4. So it would be D5, which in this case is $600, divided by 4, it should be 150, and there it is. So that's reviewing a little bit how that works. Now, while you're putting these together, you may want to adjust these columns. You go up here between them, and your cursor becomes a double arrow when you go on the line between them, and you could resize this. I often will leave a column for spacing. Now this first column here, you can see some of this text overlaps, and that's okay. Now I could have dragged it out to there, so it didn't. Then I probably need less over here. Okay. I've gone over formatting for those that were in class, but let's say these were typed without formatting. I'll purposely change it back. Okay, so you just go through and type this all in and you decide, hey, I want it to be in currency. That's what we call when you have the dollars. So you just highlight these here. You can hit the shortcut, which is this little $ button. There's a pull down menu. So most of the time we want United States English dollars. But let's say you're making a document for euros, you can click euro, and then everything would be in euros. Or you can, I'll go back here. Put in English dollars. Now, the only thing I don't like about this version of currency, which would happen if you just click the $, is it puts the $ way over on the left. So some of you remember in class, we go up here where it says accounting, pull this down, and go to currency, third one down. Now, when you go to this currency, it puts the $ right up against it. I think that looks a lot better. Now, this first one, just for in case anyone here did not do it, the monthly budget is a sum function. How did we do that? I'll purposely delete it. I'll drag down like this. Now, when you do a sum function this way, you drag all the cells you want and leave the last cell empty. Now, in this case, there's an empty cell here, but it won't hurt anything. But the reason we left this one empty because that's where we want to go. So I go up to it looks like a Greek letter E. I can just literally just click that, and it automatically puts in what's called a sum function. If I click on here, you can see the equal sign, sum, S-U-M, then in parentheses, that's the range. It's always does the top left to the bottom right, separated by a colon. So we got D5 to D17. There's top left, there's bottom right. Now it turns out 17 is empty. That doesn't hurt anything on here, so we could edit it down to 16 if we want, or we can leave it, doesn't matter. Now the annual budget, in case anyone hasn't done that yet, is just taking this one and times 12. But the way you do that, if you look up here, you put an equal sign, you put the cell reference of this one right here. So in this case, it's D18. And then you put a multiplication, which is an asterisk. So you hold down the shift key and press 8. So that's how you do a multiplication. And then you put 12. So you're just multiplying monthly budget by 12. And the last one is your salary. So this year's our annual budget. So you got to make more than that. You know, you got taxes and things that come out of your paycheck. So what we did here was we took the D20, which is the annual budget, and we multiplied it by 1.2. Okay, 1.2 would mean that roughly you need to make 20% more than this because they're going to take money out for taxes and stuff. So having said that, this now is 45,504. So that's how much you need to make to afford this lifestyle. Now, you can always go up here. This is one of the wonderful things about spreadsheets, and you're thinking to yourself, hey, I want a nicer apartment. What if I went instead of $600? What if I got a $900 a month apartment? You can put it in there, deselect, automatically recalculates for you, and you get an idea how it'll affect your budget. And you can do that with any of these numbers. What if I had more savings? What if I had less savings? What if I got a fancier cell phone and had a bigger, costlier plan? All those things you can go back and forth here and see what you can afford. Okay. Now, for the other 3 sheets, I'm going to focus on those more tomorrow. But if you watch my tutorial, they say you can add them right here in the budget. So how do you do that? First, let me back up. When you make an Excel document like this is called a workbook. A workbook can have many sheets in it. It can have hundreds of sheets in it. It can have 1 sheet in it. This one has 1 sheet. Now, if I press the little plus sign near the bottom, it'll create another tab called Sheet 1. And this one, if I wanted to, I could start making my other 3 I need to make. Okay, I can rename this here and then so on. You can always click the tabs and go between them to work on them. Now, if you want to make a new one, that's okay too. I'm going to quit sharing this here for a moment. Okay, and I'm just going to open up a new one here, and then I'll share it with you. Okay, I minimized it, so that's why we're not seeing it. Hmm. Trying to get my Excel up here. There it is. Be coming up here in just a second. Okay, here's Excel. Oh, still down there. I do. Okay, should I switch over? I try this again. Guess I got to go all the way and open it up. I was going to try to show you how to open it up, but I think you guys know how to do that. There it is. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, when you open up a brand new Excel, open up a blank one. I always change the view right away, usually to like about 180 or whatever, so you got a bigger, nicer view to work with. Some of you might say, how many of these rows can you have in an Excel document? I read once you can have 64,000. I don't know if that's still accurate. I've yet to think of a reason to have 64,000 rows, but I suppose somebody out there somewhere has probably done it. So what you can do is you open up a new one. This is called a workbook. So when you save it, I'm not picky what you save it as. Call it like Excel assignment 2 or something, abbreviate. Or you could say Excel book 2. A lot of times people do stuff like that. Now we got a sheet down here. That could be your homeowners association. So I'll put HA2 because it's number 2. Now there's no number 1 if you do it this way. So we're leaving the budget, the first one, as its own somewhere else in another Excel. So we're creating a new one here. Now I'm going to click on the little plus sign next to it. That creates another sheet. I double click on that. It highlights. I press delete. And I'm going to name this one LD3. That stands for library dues 3, or it could have done LO because it's overdues. Either way, something like that. I'm not real picky. And then the last one here, that's going to be seating capacity. So I can just put seating. I suppose I just put seating. I'll put a 4 in there because it's the fourth one we're doing. Okay, so this workbook here, I got set up 3 empty tabs right now, labeled for each of the 3 documents we're doing in the second half. Now, in the Google Classroom, I put a PDF up there of each of the assignments. So I'm going to go to that for a moment. Okay, back to Google Classroom here. Okay, here it comes. Okay, here it is right here. Now, what did I put down here? I put a tutorial, 24 minutes. That's where I literally go through step by step on how to do it. And like I said, you can do it in any version of Excel. I put a PDF for each of the sheets. So if you want to see what they look like, here's sheet number 2. Now you notice that it doesn't say what rows or columns to put anything in. There is no wrong answer as far as, you know, some of you may want to start in row 1, some of you may want to start in row 2. As long as it's somewhere near the top and near the top left, you're okay. So if you decide homeowners is going to be in row 3 and association is going to be in row 4, and you left 2 rows above it, that's fine. Another person might start homeowners in row 1 and association in row 2, no big deal. Okay. And let me go ahead and open an actual one of those. Okay, I'm opening up Excel. I'm going to go to book 2. And I'm going to share that. Okay, this is the first one. If you're in class Monday and Tuesday, this is certainly the point. If you wanted to depart us, that's okay because you probably did this already. But if you were not in class Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to go over how to do this. First, I'm going to show you how to do this here. But I have to undo what I did so I can do that. Okay. Now, here's how I did it. And this is how we did it in class on Monday and Tuesday. I started in A2. Now you could start in A1, start in A2, start in A3. I put homeowners and I put association. Now some of you are thinking, just a minute, that's not where it goes. It's in the middle. Nope, that's okay. You can do it right here because I'm going to show you how to do that the right way. Then in row 5, I skipped a row. I put in the tenant and then the names of 4 tenants and totals. Okay. We put amount due, amount paid. We skipped a row in there. We put the amounts in here. So I'm going to start by formatting the top. I got to take a drink here. It's very dry at school today. Okay. Now, how do you do this here? It's really easy. You type that there. Now that we know how much is here, we're going to pretend we typed all this, except without the formatting. This goes through F. So here's what I'm going to do. I got homeowners typed there. I drag across here to F. So I include homeowners. I drag across. I want all this merged, and I want homeowners centered. Now you look up here somewhere in the middle, and there's something called merge and center. So you click on that, and it merges all those cells you selected, and it centers homeowners. You might probably figure it out. We're going to do the same thing with association. So I drag across with association to F. I go to merge and center, and now that's merged and centered also. Now these here are just names. If you want to center them like I did, after you type them, highlight them, just click center up here. Or if you like left for some reason, I'm not real picky. Either one's fine. Here we have amount due, we have amount paid, and we have balance due. Okay, I'm going to clear that there. Okay. Now for formatting, you can just type the numbers like 670, 730, and so on, and then drag across, come up here to the pull down where it says probably accounting or whatever it says up there, and select currency. Okay. You could make these bold, might look nice. Maybe add a color to it, which is optional. I do the amount dues in bold and my balance due. Okay, so this is all formatted, ready to go. Now, what do we put here for a formula? I'm going to introduce you to some formulas and something called fills. You can fill left, fill right, fill down, fill up. And that makes your life way, way easier. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is add up these ones right here. And it's going to come in totals. Very, very simple. Just drag across all 4 and then include the empty for totals. Go find that Greek letter E up above. Mine's not showing up because my screen is so small. Okay. It's kind of hidden. See, my screen gets scrunched because I have to make it smaller here. So it kind of hides it there. It's right there. So I'm just going to click on that. It does it automatically. It put in what's called the sum function here. So if I click on this, here it is up here. It's an equal sign, SUM, and then it's got B7 to E7, which is the range. So that'd be B7 to E7. Now the next one, I could do the same thing, drag across and click that, or I could fill this function down. So I go over to the bottom right corner where there's a little kind of black square, drag it down, that does a fill down shortcut, and it'll put a sum function here relative to all these ones right here. Now for balance due, this is going to be a little different. We're going to start with an equal sign. Now when you first type, it's going to be here, but later it's only going to be up here. We're going to put the first cell, and now as I click on it, it automatically puts that in there, B7. I could also type B7. Then we're going to put a minus sign, and then I'm going to click on the next one. That's B8. So it's going to be B7 minus B8. I hit return, it's 0, because that person owed $670 and paid the $670 off. Now I can do a fill. I click here, drag the bottom right corner. I don't want to do it there yet, but I'm going to do it here for sure. Okay, so this fills the formula. So it adjusted for each column, but you have the formula now in all three. And then you can look and see who paid and who did it and how much. Then this here, I have to decide, what do I want here? Do I want a balance due? I suppose so. So that would be continuing on here. So I could click there, just literally drag again, and deselect. Okay, that's it on this one. You could hit save. So that would be in this tab here. Now you click on the little tab down here for the second one, and you're going to put in all this information here. And you can watch my tutorial online for the rest of that. It's 12:28. Okay, so that should be a good start. Tomorrow, oh, also, if you don't want to watch that today, we are supposed to meet tomorrow. We're going to have a little different schedule tomorrow because we have a half day. So it'll be a little earlier in the morning. I'll post that schedule. But I will go over the other two documents then. So if you want to wait and do the other two that time, that's okay. If you want to jump ahead and watch my tutorial online, that's okay too. So if you've got any questions, unmute yourself and ask. If not, we're going to wrap up here. I'm just checking the chat, see if there's any questions. No, we just got our hellos from those that came, which is great. And I hope you guys have a great day. Like I said, I'll post the schedule. We'll be here tomorrow morning. And then we'll be doing this here on Monday, Tuesday. Next week, of course, Thanksgiving. And then the week after, we'll do this normally Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at this time at noon. Okay? Have a great day. Take care. If you want to unmute yourself and say, or unmute your video and wave, that'd be nice. That there are real people back there. Massa and Brendan. Thank you there, Brendan. I see some chats. That's okay. Thank you, Masson. Okay, I'm going to end this. Take care.